Bah.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Not a Lonely Coffee Break podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Megan, and we're a podcast about coffee and work, but make it queer.
Before we dive into this, Megan, I do think that we need to address something in the fact that the past couple of episodes we have had some issues with our sound quality. And I feel like every episode I have had a different microphone and people are probably like, make up your mind, Maddie. Make up your mind. If you're watching us, that is. But y'all, we are still Megan and I are still new to this. We are kind of figuring it out as we go. For those of you that have bared with us when we have some episodes that have some wonky sound, thank you. We appreciate you.
Thank you. We appreciate your patience and your listening.
So it is spooky season, and this is actually the first year that I probably did not go kind of all out for Halloween. I usually like put lights up outside and I come up with a fun little cute outfit we can wear for the trick-or-treaters, but I'm feeling really sad because this year I have to teach a class on Halloween. And so I was just in my feelings about it and I did put up some decorations, I think. Um so people will at least know that we appreciate Halloween. But like I won't even be here for trick-or-treaters. So I think we'll probably just end up having the light off so that my wife doesn't have to do it by herself. It's been really busy.
We are too, because I'm supposed to be heading out of town that night. So it's just, I blame life in general, but they should really let us have off for Halloween so that we can enjoy all the festivities. There's not a lot of trick-or-treaters nowadays.
Really? I think it depends on where you live because we usually are a hopping street in my neighborhood. There's a couple of houses that they like to hit in our neighborhood, but surprisingly, we get a lot of little kids with cute outfits, but we get a lot of like middle school and high school aged kids. We actually, a couple of years ago, we started giving out, like we don't do candy. We do like little trinkets and stuff just because, my wife has a dairy allergy. And so we were like, oh my gosh, trick or treating would suck because everyone gives chocolate. And so we decided to be those people who don't give out candy. So when the high school kids show up and they get like a cheap plastic Charlie Brown toy, they're probably like, we are never going to their house again. Let us know in the comments, you guys, what you guys do for Halloween. We would love to know. We can maybe live vicariously through you this year, since maybe we're gonna be a little down. But Megan, your spouse just came home.
Yes, thank goodness. That was a nightmare. Talk about spooky. Just like the whole back and forth, there's dates moving and stuff like that. So finally we're happy to have them home, and I took a week off from work because I was toasted, or as they say, cooked. I just cannot do work right now. So we went off to Fredericksburg. I'd never been there before. And we had a good time. We found like a little cabin in outside of town, and there's no TV in there, so I mean we had Wi-Fi, but that was it. It was a really cool dig to just get away, get outside of the city, and just enjoy nature.
So you guys really got to kind of like reconnect.
Yes, yes, it was much needed. And we tried out the little wineries, which were very cute. I guess I expected rolling hills of vineyards and like these ginormous wineries, but they're just cute little mom and pop places. And like it's funny because a lot of them are connected to the Panhandle, which is where I'm from in Lubbock. I guess they like do bottling up there. Anyways, it was wild. But we went on a weekday. It was a Tuesday, so it was pretty chill other than my tasting rampage. I felt like Moira Rose with her Erlingers fruit wines because they had lots of fruit wines, y'all.
You had you got a little too into the tasting. Is that what I'm hearing?
If you're a wine person or a brewer and maybe you want to, you know, share the world your wine, please connect with us. I will be a taste tester for you for sure. So that was my week. Yeah, how was yours?
It's just been really busy. There's so much going on. Um, yeah, just a lot. I've been busy with like work stuff, and then my wife has been busy with work stuff. So we've just been trying to like every spare minute that we're not at work, we're trying to like use it to connect with each other and check in with each other.
It's hard. There was one time because, as we get older, like things are changing, your roles are changing. And I had spoken with my counselor at the time, and they were like, you should schedule it, schedule it in your calendar for one-on-one time. I was like, that seems worse than what's happening right now.
Yeah, like no, it's funny because I have talked to my therapist about the same thing before. Just like it's so hard to find time or whatever. And my therapist actually said the same thing. Like, if that's important to you, then you want to make time for it. So my therapist was saying the same thing, and like it it feels weird. And like I'm not gonna lie, we still are kind of like, yeah, we're not doing that. Uh, because it's like we shouldn't have to schedule in time with each other. Like we should just do it.
Yeah, we should just be able to, like, when I tell them to do the dishes, you should just do it.
Yeah, you should just do it. But no, my therapist was like, if you do it where like you're putting it in your calendar, whatever your shared space, whatever it is, um, it's keeping it like in the forefront of your mind, and then eventually it becomes just like it's like a route. You're building it into your routine if both of you have really busy routines. So I don't know, we try to at least like for we haven't done it in the past couple of weeks because we've been so busy, but we were for a while. We were like every Friday night we were doing like date night.
Yeah, the date night. Yeah, we that's what our thing is too. We do the date night, and even if we've had the crappiest week and we're mad at each other, we still go. We still go for the Friday night date night because it always turns out okay.
So it is spooky season, Megan, and I actually watched a documentary the other day that ended up being a little bit spookier than I initially thought. And it also kind of fits right in with everything we've been talking about regarding boundaries. You know me, I can fit everything into boundaries.
Not a lonely coffee break where we talk about boundaries.
Boundaries, mental health. Okay, no. So I am a huge fan of Tegan and Sara. Love them, love everything they do. They just dropped a documentary like within the past couple of days. And it was about a story that like I didn't even know was going on with them. So it's called Fanatical: The Catfishing of Tegan and Sara or something. So apparently back in the day, like way early into their career,
Bang, the bangs when the bangs were across, yes.
the bangs. Yeah. When they were kind of first starting out, the internet was sort of a different culture, right? So they were some of the first, I guess, in their genre, in their sort of group, to really utilize the internet to connect with their fan base. And it wasn't like, I think we had like maybe MySpace and stuff like that, but it was big in like forums and Tumblr and websites like that. Well, apparently someone hacked their system and got a whole bunch of personal information and started catfishing people as Tegan.
No. Was I one of the catfish?
And Megan, this went on for years. Like years before they even realized what was happening. Things, I guess, things started feeling weird to some of the people that were being catfished. So they reached out to like their management and they were like, yeah, Tegan doesn't know who you are. And so it just started this whole cycle of them trying to get to the bottom of this. And so that's what the documentary is about, is just them trying to kind of locate what happened, but also exploring some of the internet dynamics. And they dive a little bit into that sort of obsessive fan culture that can get kind of scary and disrupt your lives. And it was just so, I don't know, for me, it was so interesting. Um, and also, it was such a timely documentary because I feel like more and more celebrities are starting to open up about fans who have maybe um, overstepped a little bit, gone a little too far in their admiration. And so I thought it was really timely and really powerful. And it was also this thing, there was like this part in the documentary where Tegan and like the documentary producer are chatting with someone that they perhaps they suspect is maybe behind it because they have a few sort of evidence things. So they're talking to this person on the phone, and Tegan is like, we were all victims in this and blah blah blah, and the person is like, you weren't a victim. What are you talking about? We were the victims. And so it sort of shifted that narrative a little bit to say like, no, I also was a victim in this, even though I'm, a celebrity and seem like I have everything. Like, people were pretending to be me and interfering with my life. So it was kind of turned out to be kind of almost like a true crime type of documentary. It was really good.
I'm gonna have to watch it. Yeah, I mean, it is really spooky, especially for like those in the LGBTQ community and like dating apps and like getting I mean, just as simple as your picture, your date of birth, and like some basic information to pretend to be you. And then these people are out in like meeting people in clubs and like it is kind of scary. And even for the person that gets their, I mean, I wouldn't like, for Tegan gets their identity, stolen. That person was trying to portray them to probably get things out of their fans, or to get some sort of satisfaction from that. Yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah, it was really scary because you never know, and the internet is such a wild place. And like, now, even this all happened before they had Instagram and all of that, and TikTok and everything. In the spirit of spooky season, I don't know. I've just been kind of reflecting a little bit on things that I don't know if spooky is even the right word for it, but I guess kind of like scary times in my life. And I don't even know if you know this, Megan. This is actually a really big week for me. This is actually the time period of when everything uh hit the fan, when we worked together. And that was a really scary time. I don't know, for me, even just like leading up to it.
Right. That that's scary in itself. Yeah. I mean, just the uncertainty and like getting out of a bad situation with an employer, you start to doubt, even with all the gaslighting and um, the boundaries that were kind of forced on you, but not knowing what tomorrow's going to look like or next month. You have a family to take care of, things like that. And I think any professional in the workforce goes and they get let go and they have no idea what's next, right? Am I eligible to go into another spot laterally? Am I going to be able to find a job in 30 days? I think that's spooky, going on and looking for your next employer. And it can take 60 to 90 days to get through that interview process, to get through the application process, and then finally having an answer. Yeah, it's not a good time. But what did you learn out of that, Maddie?
You know, it's I think I'm still learning stuff out of it, but initially it was one of those things, and I mean, I still think I have even like mixed feelings about it, cuz on one hand, it was a terrible situation. I mean, we were constantly I feel like you and I were constantly like, "Oh, we hate it. We're so miserable. This sucks." But I still deep down I still loved that job, and I loved like the opportunities that it was creating in the communities and all of that. And so initially I was really like sad, upset, depressed, all of those things. And I think I've shared that before on the show that it was just a really rough time with my mental health. But now I think I'm to a point where I'm able to now say, even though it still like sucks and I still have some big feelings about it, I'm able to say, being fired, and I'm just going to call it what it is. It like being let go. I was not let go. I was fired. I was terminated. It obviously is not convenient, and I do still have to kind of deal with the scariness of how much I want to share about that. That when you look at my resume, it's there, and people ask, why so short? So I have to deal with the fear around, what do I say about this? How do I want to approach this? And I don't know, I think I do that good. But I think I needed that to happen in order to bring me to the opportunities I'm in now. I mean, you and I wouldn't have been able to start this beautiful podcast if it hadn't have happened. When Megan and I worked together, we actually had wanted to start a podcast. It was like on our plan. We wanted to do it, and we were told no.
Yeah, it was gonna happen. And here we've come to be. We created it anyway. It's better to do it independently.
But I don't know. I'm curious, from your perspective, because it's one of those things. I have been focused on my side of the story, but like the day that it happened, you were there too. What was that like for you, if you are comfortable sharing?
I think that I tried to handle it the best I could because my next thought is, what's my future look like? Your termination was not the first. There had been several that year. And so seeing, okay, well, I start thinking about my own safety. What does that look like in the future? And is this a place that I really want to be a part of anymore? Um, and yeah, it was, I mean, like you explained it, it's almost like a grieving process because it's just a part that you have to let go. And then there was also a lot of fear tied to it. I was newly graduated from college. Um, I'm a first generation college graduate, so not really understanding how the workforce is when it comes to that. Because as a tradesperson, you have your trade. You have your trade, you go in, you find the job, you work, and you work until you can't do it anymore, and you find another one. But, you know, when you come out of college, it's a bit different because you want to stay on a track. And so that was probably the more difficult part for me. Was I was like starting to question, what track am I on? And, you know, what are my values, as far as looking for the next step and looking for the next thing? Like, what are the things that are important to me? Um, so I had to start making decisions, and I made the decision to leave. It was a difficult position to leave, because, like you said, I love the job. I did love the job, but I wasn't going to find financially what I wanted in a lateral move. So I just kind of went back to dental. Um, but it was scary because I was like, well, my friend's leaving, and it kind of seems like everybody's kind of getting shot down like flies. So I need to figure out what's the safest and quietest way. I hate to say it, but the safest and quietest way to leave, because I simply, like everybody else, you can't afford to just dip off. So, yeah, that was my experience in it, and I was just kind of trying to play my part in chess and see what moves were going to be best for me and my family at the time. There are some times I do like think about, okay, well, if I would have gone this direction, if I would have gone this direction, and I mean, at the end of the day, you really don't know which direction it would have, like, what would have been the better decision.
Yeah, anytime I think someone leaves a job, whether it's their choice or not their choice, I think is a scary time for sure. because there is lots of uncertainty. I think even for me, so before I had the job that um this all happened in, I had been in another position, like a long term job that I thought I was going to be in forever. And I think even getting to the decision to finally leave that job was was a scary thing because it was like I feel safe here. I know what I'm doing, but it was one of those things where like I knew it was time, but I was so scared and nervous to like do it.
To pull it. Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so I think that that can also just be kind anytime you're trying to like transition into something new, it's scary. I think the uncertainty of not knowing how it's going to end up, especially when you do have families to take care of and
Hmm.
bills to pay and
I will
groceries to
say,
buy.
I will say that if listeners, you are in a situation in which you have to seek external help,
Mhm.
financially, food, utilities during that transition period, I think there's a lot of pride that might be tied to that.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
I will say, if you don't have a plan and you're trying to make one and things get sticky, go to those resources. They are there for
Mhm.
a reason. Um,
No, absolutely. And just I think the first step is being willing to sort of throw up your hands and say I need help.
right.
Can be huge, even though it feels scary, I think, for sure. But something a little bit more lighthearted. Still on
There
the
is a
spooky,
way.
still on the scary and spooky thing though.
Hmm.
So the building that we used to work in was kind of spooky.
Yeah, well, it was a very old church,
I just know it used to be a church, but
right?
it was large
And there were sounds.
and there were sounds and there were I feel like there were even like sometimes like I would come across a door and I'd be like I don't know where this goes.
I don't want to know.
um um it was yeah, it was kind of spooky and the elevator was dangerous.
Yeah, I
There
tried
were
to not to
many
use it.
times. Yeah, there were many times I would be on that elevator and I would actually usually get there first in the
Hmm.
mornings. And so I'd be the first one in the building even. And I'd take the elevator and like turn all the lights on and stuff. And I can just remember like sometimes I would hear a noise and I would sometimes be there even like an hour to 2 hours before anyone else got there.
Hmm.
And I would hear a noise and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to shut my office door and then no one will know I'm here.
Yeah, there was definitely maybe some guests in that building.
Yeah, I think we had
I
some
think they were
ghosts.
friendly.
They never harmed us. They
No,
just
there
made
were plenty of
noises.
times I could have been trapped in that elevator and I wasn't, which was
Here's what I
nice.
want to know though, Megan, because this happened before I even worked there. Were you there when they cleaned out the attic?
Hmm. Yeah, I brought down those boxes.
What was the attic like? Were there noises there?
It was full of boxes. I think the scariest thing in there were spider webs and spiders, but there were a lot of so many documents from like the 60s and 70s and 80s. It was really really interesting.
It was like every document in the history of the organization because
Yeah,
it was
basically.
I'm pretty
And
sure it was low key a bunch of hoarders that
it
just never
definitely
threw
was.
anything out.
Well, they were trying to keep some sort of historical record, I'm
No,
sure.
there was some cool stuff. I do know there was some cool stuff that was found up there because I saw it later on. But I was like, I'm glad I was that happened before I started
Yeah,
because
it was wild. I definitely had to go home and take a shower after that because it was
I
just
believe
full
it.
paper mites. But
I
yeah, the
believe
entire
it.
record of the organization was established in that attic, and just mind you, it's because before internet, that's how people kept track of stuff. But
Yeah.
um, No, but I didn't see any strange wedding dresses or
Or creepy dolls.
creepy dolls. If there was, well, there were a
I
couple
was
of
gonna
creepy
say,
dolls,
I
but
was gonna say that could
we
have likely
retired them.
happened.
There were some creepy puppets, yes. And yes, we did retire them. They had to go.
The puppets were creepy in general,
Yeah.
but the original puppets, they were kind of scary.
They look like when Chuck E. Cheese used to have the original little band up
Yeah.
on stage. It was like those
Yes.
types of puppets.
So we're about done with our coffee making, but I think it's important for us to remind everyone, including ourselves, that Texas, is officially in voting season.
Early voting.
So I know a lot of people have already gone and voted. I did. Um, I was actually so it was one of those things. I was like, I need to get up and vote. I need to go do it. I need to go do it. But I was feeling a little sad because I was worried I wasn't gonna get one of the cute stickers. I thought I was gonna get one of the
Oh, just
lame
the
dollar
usual I
store,
voted.
the usual I voted stickers.
Ew,
And so,
gross.
right.
Democracy.
And so, but I really wanted one because they are super cute. Apparently they did like a contest with
Hmm.
different schools and had different students create different stickers. And
Yeah.
so the main one that I've been seeing I know was done by a DISD student. But then yesterday I saw someone post a sticker that was like completely different than what I had seen previously. So I'm wondering like how many stickers there are in rotation.
You're like, I gotta collect them
I
all.
wish I could vote multiple times now.
I just want a sticker.
So yeah, I was feeling sad because I was like, I'm only gonna get one of the basic stickers. But then
Mm.
my friend that lives down the road from me, had posted that they like their I voted with their sticker, and I was like, oh my gosh, where did you go? And she was like, I went to such and such, and I was like, I'm getting in my car and going now because then I was like worried that if I waited too long, I wouldn't get one of the cool stickers. And
First
so
world
I
problems. All right.
I got at the cool Dallas I voted sticker.
Very cute.
And I was I mean, obviously I was excited to vote, but um the sticker was just the cherry on top. Um so
Yeah, we're
yeah,
supposed to
make
be
sure
going tomorrow. We're really excited. We just
yeah.
wanted to get our vacation out of the way. But no, tomorrow I have to early vote. If I don't, I end up waiting like an hour at the polls the day of. So early
Yeah,
vote,
I've pretty much done
do it
early
on your day
voting, I
off.
feel like. But yeah, go vote. And when your ballot comes
Oh
out,
yeah,
make
to
sure
double
that
check
you
you have the right
double
people.
check it.
Hmm.
Um
Make sure you're hitting the right
mhm.
buttons. And yeah, when it prints out, just review it. You always want to review things. Technology is always a miss. Human error is possible.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, double check your ballots. If you don't know who to vote for, League of
a
Women
league
Voters,
a League of Women Voters does post
non,
candidates and
hmm,
where they stand on certain issues.
right.
They are a nonpartisan group. So if you want to go and you're just curious how different individuals feel on different things that you might feel passionate about, you can go to their website and check it out.
I highly recommend.
This was a great chat, Megan.
Yes.
I think it's always good, I think, to reflect on how far we've come.
Yes.
Um,
And share your spooky stories of
yeah.
leaving or getting fired and maybe your experience on how you triumphed because we all know you did. Okay? Don't
Mhm.
don't play that. You've
Mhm.
triumphed. So yeah, let us know. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell on the YouTube.
Mhm.
Maddie, are there any other platforms that we're going to be put on?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, first of all, make sure you are connected with us on social media because we love social media and we love connecting with you all. So, you can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Patreon. You can now also find us on Threads. You can check out the show, obviously, on our usual channels YouTube, Spotify, but we also are super excited to share with everyone that you can now also find us on Apple Podcasts.
What?
What? Yeah. It was one of those things. We went to Pride Frisco and everyone was asking us, like, are you
Are
on
you on
Apple? Are you on
Apple?
Apple? Are you on
Are you on
Apple?
Apple?
And we were we were peer pressured in a good way
Yeah.
to join the Apple podcast community. So you can now find us there if that's where you prefer to check us out. Go for it.
Subscribe, leave us comments. We want it all.
And make sure you share with your friends. Coffee is
Yeah,
always better with friends.
absolutely. Never do it alone unless you really, really want to. Then that's fine.
Right. Right. So, on that note, though, thank you for everyone who has joined us for today's episode of Not a Lonely Coffee Break. We are your hosts. I'm Maddie.
And I'm Megan.
And cheers,
Cheers,
queer.
queer.